tall, very strong, very handsome man, as well as sort of the ruler of a small country. On the farm where Derry had grown up, people who ruled countries were great figures of myth and legend, and men who preferred the company of other men was something you told jokes about. After fulfilling his prophecy and saving the world, Derry had tried to figure out who he was. He'd tried to spend time with Ululenia, and he'd tried to join the Knights of Gedesar and hunt things that used magic to hurt people, but neither had felt right, and as someone who was made to fulfill a great purpose, Derry had learned to trust his heart. Mr. Dragon projected an authority that filled the room. He was a figure out of myth and legend, but none of that mattered. What mattered was that he and Derry liked each other, and the elves didn't care whose company you preferred. It was a long way from the farm, but Mr. Dragon's smile made Derry's stomach flip-flop. People in the Elflands didn't order each other around, and after fulfilling a prophecy, that felt good to Derry. He pulled strongly, the water roaring in his ears, and slapped the wall. Then he stood up, the tiny little stones that made up the mosaic on the bottom of the pool pinching his toes, like they always did, and took in great gasping lungfuls of air.
"You've cut almost a minute off since the last time I saw you,"
came a voice from by the steam room, and Derry looked over to see Irathalathlielan, the elf who oversaw Mr. Dragon's affairs outside the Elflands. He was taller even than Mr. Dragon, his skin pale green, and the crystals upon his cheeks pale blue. His eyes were golden, like a cat's, and seemed most often locked in a perpetual state of disdain, also like a cat's. "Mr. Irathalathlielan," Derry said politely. He didn't think the elf liked him, but because Derry was Mr. Dragon's boyfriend, the elf had never said so outright. "Are you sure?"
"I am sure of very few things in this world."
Irathalathlielan tossed Derry a towel.
"Precise measurements of time, however, are one of them. I heard the splash and crash as you began your swim and counted the laps based on when you slapped each wall. Same number of laps, 48 seconds shorter time."
"I've been practicing," Derry said proudly, holding the towel aloft as he climbed from the pool. He dried off his hair and face, then toweled his arms and legs. "How was your trip?"
"Productive, I hope."
Irathalathlielan watched the waves lap the sides of Mr. Dragon's pool.
"He'd like to speak with both of us."
"Oh, sorry to keep you waiting." Derry toweled faster until his swim trunks stopped dripping.
"You're keeping him, not me," said Irathalathlielan, and shook his head. "He asked that I wait until you were finished."
He smiled and added,
"I suppose it's in his best interests that you remain in good shape."
Derry blushed and finished drying himself off, then pulled on a loose, brightly coloured shirt and wrapped the towel around his waist over his trunks. He followed Irathalathlielan through the great marble columns that surrounded the pool, past the fountain and small hedge maze, and into Mr. Dragon's home proper. Derry almost didn't get lost anymore. He'd learned to tell the different paintings of old people on the walls apart, and find his way through the different wings of the palace. The other elven servants were always happy to give him directions as well, as were the fairy creatures who worked at the palace. Derry sometimes felt a little odd being the only human there, but after learning that the crystals most humans used hurt the elves' heads, he understood why they kept most other people out of their country. Irathalathlielan led Derry to Mr. Dragon's study, a great room filled with stacks of books and lit by bright shining glass spheres that hung from the ceiling. Mr. Dragon's home was built in a kind of circle shape, with a great garden in the middle, and almost every room let in light from the outside world. This study alone had no windows, and while Derry could find the room without trouble, and had been there countless times, he was still not entirely certain what part of the palace the room was even in. In the picture of the palace that lived in Derry's head, the study never seemed to fit. When he had asked Mr. Dragon about it, the great man had laughed and explained that a few tricks of walls and hallways could make a room seem to disappear, and that the study was a room where the things that needed to disappear could stay safe. Mr. Dragon was in his human shape, as he most often was inside, a tall, broad-shouldered man with a massive red beard. He always left his shirt open when at home, which let Derry clearly see the shimmering rainbow glow that shone from Mr. Dragon's heart, along with all of Mr. Dragon's chest and the muscles of his stomach, and all the other parts of his